Welcome to another episode of Well, That's Interesting. Today we are diving into a fascinating concept that blurs the lines between fiction, philosophy, and science. Causal loops and objects without origin. These are the peculiar artifacts, events, or even ideas that exist only because they were sent back in time, creating a paradox where their true beginning cannot be pinpointed. From movies to books and even television, these paradoxical objects have captured the imagination of storytellers and audiences alike. So let's unpack these mind-bending scenarios and explore how they raise questions about time, reality, and the nature of existence itself. One of the most iconic examples comes from the movie Somewhere in Time. In this romantic drama, Christopher Reeve's character is given a pocket watch by an elderly woman. Later, he travels back in time and gives the same watch to her younger self, creating a loop where the watch exists without an origin. It is a perfect example of an ontological paradox, where an object seems to come from nowhere, yet exists solely because of its own circular journey through time. The story of this watch is both beautiful and haunting, as it highlights how time can bend reality in ways that feel almost magical. A similar phenomenon occurs in Back to the Future. Marty McFly performs the song Johnny Be Good during a school dance, a song originally made famous by Chuck Berry. However, in this twist, the performance is overheard by Chuck Berry's cousin, who then introduces it to Chuck. This creates a loop where the song exists without a clear origin. Did Chuck Berry write Johnny Be Good? Or did Marty McFly bring it into existence by playing it in the past? This playful paradox underscores the creative ways in which time travel can be used to reshape our understanding of creativity and inspiration. Let us move to another cinematic gem, Star Trek, where time travel and causality are recurring themes. In Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, Captain Kirk sells a pair of antique glasses to get money. However, these glasses were originally gifted to him by Dr. McCoy in the future. The glasses exist because they were passed back and forth through time, creating another closed loop paradox. Similarly, in the movie Time After Time, a pair of glasses are broken, yet they somehow reappear intact because they were retrieved from another point in the timeline. These examples highlight a recurring theme in time travel stories, objects that defy logic by existing within a causality loop. But it is not just objects that get caught up in these paradoxes. Sometimes entire events hinge on this circular logic. In Terminator, the technology used to create Skynet is based on the remains of a Terminator that was sent back in time. This creates a chilling loop where Skynet's creation depends entirely on its own future existence, making it impossible to determine where the cycle began. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban provides another captivating example. In this story, Harry uses a time turner to go back and save Sirius Black. During this adventure, he casts a powerful Patronus that he initially believed was conjured by his father. Later, he realizes that he himself cast the spell. This moment reinforces the idea of a predestined loop, where Harry's actions are both the cause and the effect of his success. The movie Predestination takes this concept to its extreme. A temporal agent travels through time to prevent crimes, only to discover that he's both the perpetrator and the victim of these events. This tightly woven narrative creates a loop where the protagonist's identity and actions are inextricably tied to the paradox of time itself. It is a mind-bending story that forces viewers to question the very nature of free will and destiny. Causal loops are not confined to movies. Television shows have also explored these ideas in intriguing ways. In the Doctor Who episode Blink, the Doctor gives Sally Sparrow a transcript of a conversation they will have in the future. Sally later provides the transcript to the Doctor in the past, completing the loop. This narrative device is both clever and unsettling, as it suggests that the conversation exists solely because it was passed through time. Dark, a German science fiction series, takes this concept to a whole new level. The show features objects like a pocket watch that exists solely within a time loop. These items, much like the characters themselves, are caught in an endless cycle of cause and effect, raising profound questions about the nature of time and existence. Literature, too, has its share of these paradoxical tales. In the novel The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger, the protagonist, Henry, interacts with his younger self, providing notes and objects that guide his actions. These interactions create a loop where the items and information exist only because Henry brings them into his own past. Another example is Robert A. Heinlein's short story, By His Bootstraps. where a notebook and advice travel through time, creating a loop with no discernible starting point. Even music has dabbled in the idea of causal loops. In Doctor Who, the Doctor humorously claims that he inspired Beethoven's music by bringing it back in time. This cheeky example highlights how art and inspiration can become entangled in time travel stories, blurring the line between creation and replication. Video games also explore these themes, often using gameplay mechanics to enhance the storytelling. In BioShock Infinite, music and objects appear across dimensions, creating a sense of déjà vu and mystery. Similarly, in The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, the titular ocarina plays a crucial role in a time loop, as Link uses it to manipulate the timeline and fulfill his destiny. Causal loops and ontological paradoxes are not just fascinating narrative devices. They also challenge our understanding of time, causality, and existence. These stories force us to grapple with questions that have puzzled philosophers and scientists for centuries. If an object or event has no clear origin, can it truly exist? Are these loops a product of deterministic fate, or do they suggest a deeper, more complex reality, where time is not linear but cyclical? The appeal of these paradoxes lies in their ability to bend our perception of reality. They remind us that time is not as straightforward as it seems, and that our understanding of cause and effect may be limited by our linear perspective. They also highlight the creative potential of storytelling, as writers and filmmakers use these concepts to craft narratives that are both intellectually stimulating and emotionally resonant. From the romantic mystery of Somewhere in Time to the action-packed dilemmas of Terminator, from the whimsical adventures of Doctor Who to the existential puzzles of predestination, these stories captivate us because they touch on something deeply human: our desire to understand the mysteries of time and existence. By exploring these loops and paradoxes, we are not just entertained. We are invited to question the nature of reality itself. Time travel stories continue to captivate audiences because they challenge us to think beyond the boundaries of our everyday experience. They remind us that time is not just a series of moments, but a complex, interconnected web of possibilities. Whether it is a pocket watch, a song, or a pair of glasses, these objects without origin serve as powerful symbols of the mysteries that lie at the heart of our universe. Let us consider the implications of these stories. Are causal loops purely fictional, or could they exist in some form within the fabric of our reality? If time travel were possible, would we be able to recognize these loops, or would they remain hidden, embedded in the very fabric of our existence? These questions are more than hypothetical musings. They touch on real scientific and philosophical debates about the nature of time. Physicists and philosophers alike have grappled with the concept of closed, time-like curves, a theoretical framework where time loops could exist. These loops are permitted by certain solutions to Einstein's field equations in general relativity, such as those involving rotating black holes or wormholes. While we have not observed such phenomena in reality, they remain a tantalizing possibility that blurs the line between science and science fiction. One of the most discussed examples in theoretical physics is the grandfather paradox. What happens if you travel back in time and prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother? In theory, this would prevent your own existence, which would make it impossible for you to go back in time in the first place. This paradox challenges the consistency of causal loops, as it introduces a contradiction that seems to defy logic. However, many time travel stories cleverly sidestep this issue by using self-consistent loops, where events unfold in such a way that the timeline remains intact. Causal loops also have implications for free will. If an object or event exists solely because of its place within a loop, does this mean that the people involved have no choice in their actions? Take, for example, Harry Potter's use of the time turner. Was he destined to save Sirius and Buckbeak, or did he choose to do so? The answer depends on how we interpret the nature of time. In a deterministic universe, everything is predetermined, and the loop simply plays out as it must. But in a universe where free will exists, the character's choices become a crucial part of the loop, adding another layer of complexity to the paradox. Another intriguing question arises when we consider the preservation of information within a loop. In the case of Marty McFly and Johnny B. Good, The song exists because Marty performs it in the past. But where did the idea for the song originate? If it exists only within the loop, then it has no external source, which challenges our understanding of creativity and intellectual property. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as a bootstrap paradox, named after the idea of pulling oneself up by one's bootstraps. It suggests that information, like objects, can exist without an origin, creating a self-sustaining cycle. The implications of causal loops extend beyond fiction and philosophy. In computer science, for instance, the concept of recursion bears a resemblance to these loops. A recursive function is one that calls itself, creating a process that repeats until a specific condition is met. While recursion is a fundamental tool in programming, it also serves as a metaphor for the cyclical nature of causal loops, where each step depends on the one before it, creating a seamless, self-contained system. The philosophical implications of causal loops are equally profound. They force us to confront the nature of causality, a concept that lies at the heart of our understanding of the universe. If cause and effect are not linear but cyclical, then our perception of time as a forward-moving arrow may be an illusion. This idea is echoed in various religious and spiritual traditions, which often describe time as a cycle rather than a straight line. For example, Hinduism speaks of the eternal cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction, while certain interpretations of Christianity suggest that God's perspective exists outside of time, encompassing past, present, and future simultaneously. As we explore these loops, we also encounter the concept of predestination, where events are foreordained and inescapable. This theme appears in stories like Predestination and By His Bootstraps, where the character's actions are guided by the loop itself. While this can be unsettling, it also offers a sense of order and inevitability, as if the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. Yet, not all causal loops are neatly resolved. In some stories, they create unresolved mysteries that leave audiences pondering long after the credits roll. For instance, in the Star Trek episode, The City on the Edge of Forever, Captain Kirk and his crew travel back in time and inadvertently cause the death of a woman whose survival would have changed history. While this is not a traditional causal loop, it raises similar questions about the interconnectedness of events and the consequences of tampering with time. The allure of causal loops lies in their ability to challenge our assumptions about reality. They invite us to think beyond the confines of linear time and consider the possibilities of a universe where cause and effect are intertwined in complex and unexpected ways. Whether they appear as watches, songs, glasses, or even ideas, these paradoxical elements serve as reminders that the universe is far more mysterious and wondrous than we can comprehend. Reflect on the enduring appeal of these narratives. They remind us that time is not just a measurement of moments, but a canvas for storytelling, a medium through which we can explore the deepest questions about existence, destiny, and the human experience. So the next time you watch a movie, read a book, or play a game that features a causal loop, take a moment to appreciate the ingenuity and imagination behind these stories. They are not just entertaining, they are windows into the infinite possibilities of time and reality. Causal loops also hold a mirror to the human condition, reflecting our relationship with memory, choice, and the passage of time. In real life, our memories and actions often feel cyclical. We repeat habits, revisit past decisions, and find ourselves influenced by events that seem to come full circle. The idea of living within a causal loop resonates because it mirrors the cycles of history where patterns repeat, and the future often echoes the past. Consider the way we recount history. Stories from ancient civilizations, such as the myth of Prometheus bringing fire to humanity, seem to echo in modern tales of technology and innovation. Like Marty McFly inadvertently inspiring Chuck Berry, our cultural narratives feel as though they feed back into themselves, as if the very act of storytelling ensures the continuity of these ideas. Science fiction also uses causal loops to explore human resilience. In the Terminator franchise, the character Sarah Connor is thrust into a world where her actions are critical to humanity's survival. The existence of her son, John Connor, as a leader against the machines, hinges on a causal loop created by Kyle Reese, traveling back in time to protect her. This paradox not only drives the plot, but also emphasizes themes of agency, sacrifice, and the enduring fight against overwhelming odds. Beyond fiction, the study of time travel and causal loops has practical applications in modern physics. Researchers exploring quantum mechanics and the nature of space-time often encounter concepts that challenge our understanding of linear causality. For example, the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, where particles appear to influence each other instantaneously across vast distances, raises questions about the flow of information. Could these particles be part of a loop that transcends conventional time? While such ideas remain speculative, they inspire new ways of thinking about the universe and our place within it. Causal loops also invite us to think about responsibility. If events are part of an unbroken cycle, does this absolve individuals of accountability for their actions? In the case of Harry Potter saving Sirius Black, the loop ensures that events unfold as they must, but Harry still makes the conscious decision to act. This blend of determinism and choice underscores the complexity of moral responsibility within a loop, encouraging us to consider how our own decisions influence the world around us. One of the most thought-provoking aspects of causal loops is their ability to blur the line between creator and creation. In many stories, the loop itself becomes a kind of character, shaping events and driving the narrative. The watch in Somewhere in Time, the glasses in Star Trek, and the song in Back to the Future are not just objects. They are symbols of the loop's power to sustain itself. They remind us that stories are not merely linear. They are interwoven tapestries where every thread plays a vital role. In real life, we see echoes of this idea in the way culture evolved. Art, music, and literature often feel like part of a larger loop, where inspiration flows back and forth across generations. Just as Chuck Berry's music influenced countless artists who in turn keep his legacy alive, our creative endeavors are part of a continuous cycle that transcends time. As we consider the broader implications of causal loops, we are reminded that time is not just a dimension, but a framework for understanding change, continuity, and the interconnectedness of all things. Whether through fiction, science, or philosophy, these loops challenge us to rethink the nature of reality and embrace the mysteries that make life so fascinating. The greatest lesson of causal loops is their ability to connect us to something larger than ourselves. They remind us that our actions, choices, and stories are part of an intricate web that spans the past, present, and future. Like the characters in these tales, we are both creators and participants in the unfolding narrative of existence. As you reflect on these ideas, consider the loops in your own life. What are the moments, relationships, or decisions that feel as though they have come full circle? How do they shape your understanding of time, destiny, and the possibilities of the future? The answers may surprise you, offering new insights into the timeless dance of cause and effect. Causal loops also serve as a reminder of the power of perspective. While characters within these loops experience events as a series of cause and effect relationships, we as observers can see the entirety of the loop as a cohesive whole. This dual perspective allows us to appreciate the elegance of these narratives where every detail, no matter how small, serves a purpose in completing the circle. In the real world, this concept has parallels in how we perceive and analyze our own lives. Events that once seemed disconnected can, in hindsight, form a pattern, revealing a larger narrative we may not have recognized in the moment. This retrospective awareness, often described as connecting the dots, mirrors the way audiences come to understand the intricacies of a causal loop. Take the iconic example of Interstellar, where the protagonist, Cooper, uses a tesseract to communicate with his daughter, Murph, across time. While Cooper experiences the events as a desperate attempt to save humanity, the audience gradually understands that his actions are part of a predetermined loop. The watch he uses to send a Morse code message becomes a symbol of their connection and the bridge between timelines. This powerful moment exemplifies how causal loops can explore themes of love, sacrifice, and the enduring bonds that transcend time. Similarly, in 12 Monkeys, the protagonist, James Cole, is sent back in time to prevent a devastating virus outbreak. Throughout the story, Cole grapples with the haunting memory of witnessing a man being shot at an airport during his childhood. In a devastating twist, he realizes he is the man being shot, completing the loop in a way that highlights the inevitability of certain events. This poignant revelation forces the audience to confront the tension between fate and free will, a recurring theme in stories about causal loops. Causal loops are not confined to science fiction. They also appear in other genres, often as metaphors for personal growth and self-discovery. In The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, the characters Joel and Clementine repeatedly erase their memories of each other, only to meet and fall in love again. This cyclical pattern reflects the complexity of human relationships, where pain and joy are intertwined, and each experience shapes who we are. In these narratives, the loop itself becomes a canvas for exploring deeper truths about identity, memory, and the passage of time. They remind us that while time may appear linear, our experiences and emotions often follow a more intricate and unpredictable path. This complexity is what makes causal loops so compelling. They offer a glimpse into the infinite possibilities of time and the profound connections that bind us to one another. On a broader scale, causal loops encourage us to think about the nature of progress. In the real world, technological and scientific advancements often feel like they are part of a loop, where each discovery builds upon the work of those who came before. The development of the internet, for example, can be traced back to a series of innovations that seem almost inevitable in hindsight. Yet within the loop of progress, there are moments of inspiration and creativity that defy explanation, reminding us of the unpredictable beauty of human ingenuity. As we delve deeper into the mysteries of time, it becomes clear that causal loops are more than just narrative devices. They are windows into the complexities of existence. They challenge us to question our assumptions about reality, explore the interconnectedness of all things, and embrace the infinite possibilities of the universe. Whether we encounter them in stories, science, or our own lives, causal loops inspire us to think beyond the boundaries of linear time and imagine a world where past, present, and future are intertwined in ways we can scarcely comprehend. They remind us that time is not just a measure of moments, but a vast, ever-changing tapestry that connects us to one another and to the mysteries of the cosmos. In the end, causal loops are a celebration of the human spirit, the creativity, curiosity, and resilience that drive us to explore the unknown. They are a testament to our ability to find meaning in the seemingly paradoxical and to embrace the wonder of existence in all its complexity. Through these loops, we are reminded that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that every moment, no matter how small, is part of a larger story that transcends time.